Good evening, class. Thank you so much for joining this class. And our topic today is on the mystery of raising children the kosher way. The mystery of raising our children. What are we saying? So I want to welcome you to this class today, or the School of Philosophical Youth, where we are discussing about ways to raise our children the kosher way. I think and I hope parents will find this course very enjoyable, educative and stimulating. Whether a person is a parent, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a social worker, a policymaker, this course indeed is very important, as you'll be familiarizing with the most ancient source of wisdom from the Torah and from the Kabbalah of how to raise children in a kosher way. So that's our topic today. We just need to thank God, who again is giving us this opportunity. We say these things time and again to thank God, because time is in God's hands. God is our controller. He drives the universe the way He wants. So today we are going to be discussing about how to raise kids in a proper kosher, a proper way. I want to re-enthuse and re-emphasize that this is a research. It's not something that I've thought with my mind. It's something that is written, something that is researched. So if there's an argument, I also want to, because at the end of this presentation, I put some references where people should go and refer. I'm not teaching what I think. This is written. So it is written in the book of a book called Avot, Rabbi Nathan. It says in that book, if you have a sapling, a sapling in your hand, and people tell you that the Messiah has just arrived from heaven, and you have a sapling or that plant in your hand, don't go and greet the Messiah. Don't go and greet the Messiah. Why? Because the Messiah is coming from heaven to supervise and see people who are busy growing saplings or seedlings. In this case, what is a seedling? A seedling is a person who is putting effort to grow children in the understanding of God. So when someone is growing children to understand God, is educating, is teaching children to understand God, that person is accorded as someone who is growing a sapling. And when the Messiah comes, the Avot, the Rabbi Nathan, says you must not go because you're doing a great job. But before that, I need to introduce to you why we have, I have just in the succeeding subsections, I've designed some methodologies, some ways to how to deal with children, very important. But for now, I want to, just precisely to tell the people in this class that children are going to be rebellious. And why is it sometimes some children are very rebellious? Because they don't understand where you are coming from. They don't understand where you are going. You just impose things to them without an explanation. So a story is told in the Midrashi. You know the story when Moses was arguing with God over a particular commandment. If you read the Zohar Barak, page 197b, it tells us a story about Moses arguing with God over a particular commandment and refused to transcribe it into the law of God. Because the law was telling Moses to put in the Bible, or God was telling Moses to put this law into the Bible, in the 5 books of the Torah, and Moses was not happy. And yet the Zohar says that a particular point, and Moses then took it he put it into the Bible. But at first Moses was arguing because he did not understand what is it that Moses was arguing about the law. Because the law stated that if a man is a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey the voice of his father and the voice of his mother, and does not listen to them when they discipline him or her, then his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the Beis Din, to the court, to the elders, at the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, the parents, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He does not obey our voice. So he is, a renegade. So, and a drunkard. So we have brought him to you to judge him. Then all the elders of the assembly shall stone this young man to death. That's on Deuteronomy 21 verse 18. So Moses didn't understand what this law meant. So Moses was saying, this is not applicable. Oh God, says Moshe. The Zohar, this from the Zohar. So Moshe said, oh God, Master of the universe, leave this law out. Please, please. It doesn't apply. Will there be a father who will do this? Says Moses. So, but God told Moses, I understand your view. Take this law, put it in the Bible, in the Torah. So Moses was arguing because he didn't understand until God explained. So God was saying to Moses, it's very important. Because there's a portion that says, in his home the mother's voice must be heard, and the father's voice must be heard. So these two voices must be heard. If it was designed spiritually by God, it's not me, it's the Zohar, spiritual by God, that if a child hears two voices, one from his father and one from his mother, supporting each other, it becomes one voice. That son will never be rebellious. So this issue is going back to the parents to say, if the parents doesn't agree, if they don't agree on one thing, the child will be confused. You'll be rebellious because the child will begin to support the father or the mother. So they must speak in one voice. That's what the Torah says. The voice of the father was not the voice of the mother. So each of them went his own way or his own way. So the parents never managed to merge their distinct voices to create a unified and integrated vision or a shared vision to this young man, to this young boy, to their children. So each of the parents was pulling the home in another direction, and the poor children were stuck in the middle, torn by the discord of the parents. Then they begin to be rebellious. So God was not referring to this rebellious son, but was referring to the parents. They must speak with one voice. So I just picked that one. So parents are not parents themselves. They are not. Should they be expected to be perfect? Yet, as long as we work towards transforming our distinct voices into a single voice, we are going to win against our children being rebellious sons and daughters. The one unfortunate thing, this world, there are no parenting schools. It's very unfortunate. So where and how we learn to parent our kids, we just learn it from our mothers and our fathers, and above all, it's some kind of on-the-job training. So when a couple is blessing the children, it's some kind of a trial and error. And yet there are tons and tons of literature, a sea of knowledge written around how we should rear and grow and upbring our children. There's also a very important concept that I need to bring here for us as parents to understand something. There's a concept in the Torah called peeling the fruit, peeling the fruit, removing the rind. If you take away the rind of fruit, that's peeling. So the metaphor of peeling captures all we need to know about unholiness of our children, and in fact of ourselves and of our children. Unholiness. This comes from the Talmud. So the peeling the rind. So where does evil come from? Because I'm saying the rind or the peel, a fruit which is inside. So a mango peel or a mango rind is protecting the fruit inside. But where does evil come from? God created evil. That's Isaiah 45. It says, I created good and I also created evil. So many people used to believe that evil could not possibly come from God. Since God is good, they argue, and they still argue with spiritual philosophers that nothing evil comes from God. But there is Isaiah saying God created evil and God created good. So is the most fundamental premise is that God, that's what people think, God is one, and they cannot be a negative force or from God, or say negative energy from God. But that's not the case. The answer lies within this metaphor of a peel, of a rind. The peel serves as a double function. It both conceals and protects the fruit. So when man removes the peel, the rind, when comes a gandari orange or gandari mango, if you remove it, you then consume the fruit or the flesh of the fruit. But both the peel and the fruit have served their purpose. So the same is true in using cosmic energy. Everything God created, including evil, serves a purpose. Yet there is a distinction between good and evil. The purpose of good is intrinsic, is inside, while the purpose of evil is outside, to protect the inside. So if there is an evil, if you think there's some evil behavior on your child, you need to take that child to the pastor or to the prophet or to the rabbi, who then, if he peels off the rind, if he peels off the peel, just after the peel, there's a fruit, so people can enjoy. It's not always there that if the kids are what we think they are evil, then we throw them away. We name call them. We call them thieves, we call them robbers, or they are rebellious. They're not rebellious. It's because we don't know. It says in the Talmud. It says this is the Jerusalem Talmud, the Chagiga, on Chagiga, chapter 1, verse 7. Rabbi Yudan Nesia sent some rabbis to a neighbor city in the land of Israel. They came to a certain place and did not find teachers, not find rabbis, or not find scholars. So they said to the local chiefs, can you bring to us defenders of this city? So the city's watchmen were brought out. And the rabbi said, no, these are not defenders of the city. These are destroyers of the city. Then soldiers were brought. When the soldiers were brought before the rabbis said, these are not defenders of the city. These are destroyers of the city. That's why they have guns. Until small children were brought before the rabbis. And the rabbi said, yes, these are the defenders of the city. These are the defenders because they are a future of Israel. So what this entails is that it is very important to educate our children. Very, very important. And children learn more. They learn more when they are getting it from their parents. So this topic, I think, is very, very important to us parents, because we haven't gone to school to be taught how to rear and upbring our children. So according again to Genesis Rabba on the chapter of Noah, on the chapter of Lot, you know, we would have been given these kids or these children, they come from God. But the way we take them from God to us is mystical. According to Genesis Rabba, it's a commentary on Genesis. It says, love making when you are drunk or angry or sad in Genesis Rabba will attract children who are like that from heaven. You know, there are those souls who departed the earth and went to heaven. Those souls like drunkards or evildoers who departed the earth. So if you partake on love making, who are angry or sad, you attract the same type of kids from God. So the Genesis Rabba gave an example, an analog of the daughters of Noah. So daughters of Lot were, Lot's daughters were concerned about their solitude and their possibility of preserving humanity. They were very much concerned. You know, daughters of Lot, you know Lot from Sidon and Amorah. So they decided to get their father drunk, and they gave him wine, and they have had intercourse with him. Their goal was to have children. So it was the father was drunkard, and look at what happened. Boaz was drunk, and the firstborn son was called Ammon. Some call him Moab, and the other one was first one was Moab, the second was Ammon. And Moab means from my father, and Ammon means son of my clan. But the father was drunk. So sometimes what we do as parents, so raising kids is one of the toughest and most fulfilling jobs in the world, and the one for which we might feel the least prepared as parents. So I've just cherry-picked from the Genesis Rabbah, from the Kabbalah, some ways to bring up kids in a kosher way. So number one is boosting your child's self-esteem. Kids start developing their sense of self as babies when they see themselves through their parents' eyes. So your tone of voice, your body language, your expression are absorbed by your kids. Your words and your actions as a parent affect their development, affect their self-esteem more than anything else. Not what I will say, man. So praising accomplishments, however small, will make them feel proud. Letting kids do things independently will make them feel capable and strong. By contrast, belittling comments or comparing a child unfavorably with another child or the next door child is very dangerous to the child. So as parents, you need to avoid making loaded statements or using words as weapons of mass destruction. Comments like, what a stupid person, what a stupid boy, you'll never get married, you are silly. What is that? You act like a baby. that causes damage to the mindset and physical blows to the whole body. So you must not reduce your child's self-esteem. So another point that might catch kids being good. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you react negatively to your kids in a single day? Negatively. You may find yourself criticizing far more often than complimenting. How would you feel about a boss who does that to you, who mistreats you every day? You are stupid. You are academically challenged. You know nothing. You are fat. How would you receive that from the boss? You won't like it. But the more effective approach is to catch kids doing something right. Just say, did you make your bed today? Did you make your bed? If she says yes, or if he says yes, thank you so much. That's terrific. I was watching you play with your sister and you were just very patient. You were a good guy. These comments, these statements will do more to encourage good behavior over the long run than repeated scoldings, which I think most parents like me, we do that. Make a point of finding something to praise every day. Be generous with rewards. Someone might say, I don't have money, but you have hugs, you have compliments, positive compliments. Very soon you find that the child will grow positively. So another point, you need to set limits and be consistent with your discipline. Discipline is necessary in everyday household. The goal of discipline is to help the kids choose acceptable behaviors and learn self-control. You see? So if you establish house rules, there are some of those house rules that no power and those will help the kid understand your expectations and develop self-control, than for them to operate kind of house rules and you expect them to prophesy, to guess. You must have house rules. Guys, these are house rules which you as a parent must also adhere to. Adhere to those rules. Don't say, come, you need to be at 4 o'clock, you must be here at home, and you be at home at 12 midnight. They will see you coming in, door, midnight. So you are outside, you're also outside the bounds of the household rules that they've erected. So some rules may include no TV until homework is done, no hitting, no name calling, or hateful teasing are allowed. Such things which you must also adhere to. So another point is to make time for your kids. Many people, we are living in a very busy world today. The mother goes to work, the father goes to work. These kids spend most of the time with the maid. You are not there. You don't even go when they have games at school. You don't have time. You have time with your busy schedule. Now, it's often difficult for parents and kids to get together for a family meal. So let alone spend quality time together. They don't have. You are not there for them. But there's probably nothing kids would like more. Get up, just give them 10 minutes of your time. Just 10 minutes of your time. 10 minutes of your time if you need breakfast. Kids who are getting the attention. Kids who don't get attention, they want from their parents, often act out of misbehave. They misbehave because they are not sure. They are not sure of whether they are being loved, so they seek for love from outsiders. They will have that love. Another point, be a good role model. Young kids, this is a research. I think guys like Ha-Rav, in sociology, they spoke about it. Young kids learn a lot about how to act by watching their parents. So the younger they are, the more cues they take from you. Before you lash out or blow out your top in front of your child, think about this. Is that how you want your child to behave when they're angry or when they grow up? Be aware that you are constantly, being watched by your kids. Studies have shown that children who hit at school usually have a role model for aggression at home. They take this from their parents at home. Every word you hear a child speaking, 99%, there are 99% chances he picked it from his or a mother or father at home. So model the traits you wish to see in your kids. Respect, friendliness, honesty, kindness, tolerance. Model those. See? So another important point according to the Kabbalah is make communication a priority. Make communication a priority. You can't expect your kids to do everything simple because you as a parent say so. No, that's why Moses even rebelled to God, say, no, I cannot do that. Moshe, he didn't understand. They want and deserve explanation as much as adults do. So if we don't take time to explain to kids, well, we begin to wonder about our values and motivates and whether they have any basis. So parents who reason with their kids allow them to understand and learn in a non-judgmental way. They must reason with you. They must reason. Kids must always win when they reason with you. No, Daddy, this doesn't work. You must say yes. You see? So make your expectations clear. If there's a problem, describe it, express your feelings, and invite your child to work on a solution with you. Please come. Ninyasha, help me here. Be sure to include the consequences. Make suggestions and offer choices. Be open to your child's suggestions as well. Negotiate. Reach a ZOPA. What is a ZOPA? A zone of operation agreement. Let's draw a ZOPA. So kids who participate in decisions are more motivated to carry them out than those that are forced, those that are coerced to do it. You touch it. So be flexible. Another point. Be flexible and willing to adjust your parenting style. If you often feel let down by your child's behavior, perhaps you have an unrealistic expectation, and you need to have a smart objective or smart objectives. They must be realistic. They must be achievable. Parents would think in shoulds. For example, my kids should. I'm saying shoulds. My kids should. My kids should do this. Might find it very difficult if you force them. Kids' environment is very important. Environment of love, environment of taken care of, environment of hospitality. You see? Teens, especially teens, tend to look less to their parents and more to their peers for role models, but continue to provide guidance, encouragement, and appropriate discipline while allowing your teen to earn more independence. You see? We must also show our children that the love that we are giving them is unconditional. As a parent, you are responsible for correcting and guiding your kids. But how you express your corrective guidance makes all the difference in how a child receives it. So an anathema, an incrimination is received in incrimination in an anathema. So they will not receive it very well. So you need to show them love. So when you have to comfort your child, avoid blaming, avoid criticizing, avoid fault finding, which undermines their self-esteem and can lead to resentment. So instead, strive to nurture and encourage. Even when disciplining your kids, make sure they know that although you want and you expect a better next time or better thing next time, still you love them unconditionally. You see? Again, we have a problem here in parenting children where parents don't know their limitations. And you must acknowledge your limitation. We must not experience our limitations. Face it. You are an imperfect human being. Being a parent doesn't mean that you are perfect. You have strengths and you have weaknesses. You have a SWOT analysis. As a family leader, recognize your abilities. I'm loving and dedicated. Vote work on your weaknesses. I need to be more consistent with discipline. Try to have a realistic expectation for yourself, your spouse, and your kids. You don't have to be a perfectionist. But children will see that daddy or mom, they're trying. Another point, forcing kids to follow your religion. This is the most dangerous thing. You can only do that when they are young. So God is giving you an opportunity to train them, to educate them, to explain to them how good your religion is. Then during those years, when it is young, you can try to educate by showing. So train a tree when it is young, so that when it grows, it will give you shade. From a young age, parents tend to take their children to church and teach them how to practice their religion. As a result, children tend to pick it up from there. Those are very good habits. But if you force them at a later age, 20, 21, you're not forcing them. They'll just go because maybe they'll need food or clothing from you. But once they are independent, they'll not follow that religion. So don't force children into your religion. Give them freedom to choose what they want. If you force them, they'll go what religions do with faith. They'll just fake you. That's why I find this many of the kids, especially clergy kids, because they can't find any goodness in those things because they're being forced. There's a research that was done by Richard Reeves and Kimberly Howard. They found that parenting skills vary from family to family and from demographic groups. And they studied that 44% of single mothers fall into the weakest category because they can't, especially pertaining to boys. It's very difficult for single mothers to, because boys, they just what can she do? So another possibility, according to this research, is that children born to unmarried mothers face more instability in family structure, and that this inability results in worse outcomes, especially in boys than in girls. So for single mothers, the research is saying they must take, especially if they have boys who are, with a wayward behavior, they must consult with the pastor, they must consult with the prophet or the prophetess or the rabbi. To say, Rabbi, this is my child. Would you mind to take care, to teach? Because boys usually, they don't listen if they are rebellious. So children who end up in a single parent family as the result of the death of one parent don't have the same poor outcomes. This is just a research. So it's very important that we educate our children, we love them. Whatever we do, whatever rule we would have created in the home, they must see us doing it. They must see us abiding by that same rule. So it's very important that we teach our kids. This is just the first lecture in line with kids. More will be coming on how to upbring our children, that Kosher way, love them into line. A story is told about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was asked by his son, Robert Lincoln. The son said to Abraham Lincoln, Dad, what can I do? I need to travel the whole world. And Lincoln said, a frigate is a small boat. the frigate to travel the whole world is to love God. So Abraham said, you need to love your children into line. Don't beat them into line. Explain to them what they don't even understand. Just explain. What about if you're a rebellious son, a rebellious child? Sit down. You need to see what he's seeing from his angle, from his perspective. See, understand them. It's olden days when you used to chamber kids, to whip them into line. No, it doesn't. Nowadays it doesn't work. That's not these days. Because of alcoholism, everything that we see, the internet. So next time we're going to be talking about the social media and upbringing of children, the mystery of social media. This age, I also need to tell you that we are living in an Aquarius generation, age of Aquarius, where our children need facts. They want facts of whatever they're doing. You cannot force them to believe. They need facts. So that's why the Torah says, what are you going to tell your children if they ask you to say, Dad, what are we doing? You need to ask. You need to ask questions that they can answer. They must also ask you questions that you can answer. So thank you so much, for coming to this presentation about the mysteries of raising children in a kosher way. Thank you so much. Until we meet next time. Amen, amen, and amen.